Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Anime King 3. And today I'm going to be giving you part 7 of What If Naruto Was Created by the Otsutsuki clan. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode over Anime King of What If Naruto Was the god of sound, and enjoy that guys. And also remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. And also yes, I have 3 channels, so go ahead and check them out and enjoy. Links will be down in the description for Anime King and Anime King 2. I really hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. Turn on the bell notification, stay posted guys, because I post every single day, so you're gonna want to click it on to see when I post. So without further ado, what do you say we jump right into this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Naruto was following behind Yujito, as she had came to pay him a visit, as he was curious what it was about though. After following behind her, she suddenly attacked him, as he dressed back so he wouldn't get slashed by her claws. He staggered back, as he defended himself. It was then that she just stopped. She couldn't tell what it was, but he was not really fighting. It was almost like he was just defending. She had saw it when he had fought Gaara. That animalistic side of him came out. She saw him growl. She saw the look in his eyes. Like he wanted to fight, like he wanted to throw down, but now, well, he was just so calm. It almost seemed like he didn't find her or anyone else a threat. The way how calm he was, she knew that he was hiding something. It probably was her cat-like features and her enjoying a good rush of a battle, as she was able to notice a lot that he did not notice as she knew. As Naruto and her spoke for a while, as she was looking forward to the finals. Meanwhile, Jiraiya had went to Mount Miyaboku, as the great toad, Gamamaru, had just fell unconscious. He said some cryptic words that they're coming, and destruction and all that, as Jiraiya didn't really understand, but this sounded like a really bad omen, as he didn't know exactly what was going on though. The toad had fell unconscious, and he just wouldn't wake up no matter what. He just wouldn't wake up. We then finally skipped to the finals. It was finally time. As Kushina was sitting there, she had made up her mind. She wanted another baby. Once this whole exam was over, yes, she wanted another baby. She had loved to become a mother and take care of her kids, but they were all growing up. That didn't mean that she did not love each and every one of them. She would give anything for any one of them. But she wanted another baby, a small little baby in her arms. But she knew that one day that baby would grow up again. But she just wanted another baby to dote on for the moment, as she wasn't really taking part in her ninja career anymore, and she felt like it was her time. Even though she was still a capable fighter, she wanted to stay home and raise another child. That made her felt rather content and happy, as the most fun that she had was training her children, making them become stronger, and seeing how happy they were when they learned a new technique or something else. The feeling was just amazing, as people were here to see the 3 prodigies of the Namikaze. Naruto sensed something as he saw 2 cloaked figures. As he felt their chakra, it felt unusually cold, like it was almost empty. He didn't really understand, but after a while decided to focus on the matches down below, as he stopped paying them mind. The first match was Shikamaru versus Temari. He actually gave her a run for her money and captured her in the end, but he was too low on chakra, so he gave up. But you didn't have to win the exam to become a Chunin, and from what most of them saw, his strategy and the way he thought on his feet, it was rather impressive, as he was already up for promotion in many eyes. The next fight was Remy versus Yujito, as Remy didn't like her that much. As Yujito wondered if Remy had a crush on Naruto, but she told her no. Naruto was just one of the nicest birds that she ever knew, and she wouldn't let this girl take advantage of him. As Yujito asked why would she do that, the both girls started to fight as Remy did not waste any time activating her Sharingan. Satsuki was a bit jealous that he failed his part, but Remy had spoken to him and she told him to just cheer her on. After all, she was carrying the fate of the Uchihas with her. As Remy and Yujito battled down there, the battle was quite intense, shocking everyone at the velocity of techniques that they knew. As Remy pulled out some rather powerful techniques that she learned over the month, they were rather deadly, as the both of them clashed rather furiously. Yujito had to put in a bit of work. She thought the girl was not that strong, but, well, she gave her a bit of run, but Yujito was not a normal kunoichi. She was far above Jenny level, so she was impressed by Remy. In the end, the both of them collided with a massive attack, as Remy was knocked down clean. She was rushed to the infirmary, as Yujito was declared the winner. She had made her way back up, as she had spoke with Naruto, also flirting a bit. And even now he was still rather calm, despite her just beating one of his close friends. But he was proud of Remy, as she gave it all that she had. But Yujito was just a bit stronger, as she wondered if he knew how strong she was the Eccentric type or not, she wondered. As the right Kage, Minato and the Kazekage were looking down, the Kazekage realized it was soon time. As the rest of the matches took place down there, when Naruto's name was finally called to face off against Inabi, it was finally time, as Inabi was waiting for this his entire life. Now in this public place, it was going to be amazing. Both him and Naruto made their way down there. It didn't take too long as Inabi started to boast. He has learned a lot over the past few months, and he would put Naruto down, there was no questioning that. So with that, the both of them started to fight. Inabi was giving it everything he had, but Naruto was just above him. His father did not like how his son was being manhandled down there, as his son was stronger than that. Was he holding back or something? But he was not. Inabi threw everything he had, but Naruto simply toyed around with him like he was absolutely nothing. In the end, Inabi was about to lose until it was then that the Hokage felt it, as Orochimaru gave the signal rather quickly. It was then that the first and the second Hokage shockingly revealed himself. Tsunade was shocked when she saw her grandfather and her granduncle face. She had no time to react as Kushina was stabbed. She was stabbed directly through the stomach with a bunch of wooden spears. Kushina's eyes went wide as Naruto looked up and saw it. Minato's eyes went wide as well. None of them expected to see that, but the real icing on the cake came when the three Bijus exploded out around the village. Out of the village walls, the Shikaku was on one side, the four-tailed monkey, and the five-tailed horse, hidden stone ninjas and hidden sand ninjas, and sound ninjas were attacking. Three nations all attacking Konoha, as the two Bijus from the hidden stone started to gather Tail Beast Bomb to level the village. Minato was fast, but could he stop them all at once? As people started to panic. But all that was put to a stop when Naruto lost it. Seeing his mother cut down like that in front of him, he lost his mind. So yeah guys, basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself, so let's jump right into this new episode. The 4 and 5 tailed beasts, as they had their orders, were about to nuke the entire village with their Biju bomb that they were gathering. But Shikaku was content on wiping everything away with his bare hands. But the two tailed beasts stopped when they felt this power. It was rather shocking because it felt so much like their father, yet mixed with something unrecognizable. It was like a small piece of their father was sealed away inside of whatever this thing was, their father being the Sage of Six Paths. As they were confused. But not only that, the power output was so ridiculous. This power was abnormal, stronger than them. It was pushing past the levels of Kurama Chakra and going beyond. They were about to fire the attack, knowing that whatever that was couldn't be too good. But before they could, both 5 and 4 tails were knocked away. Given their size, it was rather impossible. Well, it could be done, but it was hard for Moshinobi to hit a tail beast that far away. Their bodies had sent skyrocketing through, past the borders of the village, and slamming into the earth with such force they created giant trenches as they moved. Shikaku's right and left arm was blown clean off. The sand was reforming, but something hit him in the chest. The speed was dazzling. Shikaku's body was thrown back as he hit the forest. Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, was speechless, shocked. Even Orochimaru the Snake Sanin paused. Everyone seemed to just freeze. The stone shinobis, the sand, the Konoha shinobis, and the sound, all of them just stopped. A primal roar. It sounds like the roar for some majestic beast. Some deity, some god that has been sleeping, was released in the center of the village. All eyes was on him as he stood in mid-air. Yujito, Menma Mito, even the enemy, all of them were focusing. There he was, he stood in mid-air. His body basked in pure gold. The power released off of him was nothing normal. People could barely catch their breaths. The power was just so thick and heavy. As the first and the second Hokage, Orochimaru had gave them the order to attack, but somehow Naruto power fluctuation was disrupting that order. As both Hokages were frozen, Kushina was on the ground, bleeding rather badly, but she could see her son as she looked up towards him. Snarly looking over at Kushina snapped out of her shock. She had to do something as she moved, because of the frozen. First Hokage standing there, she was able to round a fist and literally throw his head clean off his body. She was surprised that his head would just be knocked off like that. She kicked him away right in a second, only to see that his head was reforming. Knowing that she couldn't stay here, she gently scooped Kushina up in her arms, who was in pain, and leaped away with her. Naruto's eyes focused on his mother and on Tsunade going away, hoping that she could save her. But he was not in a state right now to really speak to anyone. The side of him that he's kept away for so long has emerged. This is why Otsutsuki fear him. This is why people that declare themselves to be gods feared him. He just disappeared. Was that raw speed or not, no one knew. But the recovering tail beasts had another thing coming. As Naruto landed on the face of the fourth tail beast, the monkey, gorilla, whatever you want to call it, was rather pissed off. The hit hadn't been normal. It felt like it was hit by a mountain. The thing growled and reached up to grip Naruto, which it did. It wrapped its arm around him, holding him tight, and it started to squeeze. Despite that bone-crushing squeeze, Naruto's eyes looked directly in his. He then started to speak, but his voice seemed to just transcend all over the place. I've tried, haven't I? I've tried to remain calm, knowing if I were to get so much rage back, this would happen, but you forced me. You forced my hand. All of you, he screamed. That is why none of you, I said none of you will leave this place alive. All of you enemy shinobis, none of you will be going back. None of you will see your family again. None of you will go back home. His voice was deadly calm, but yet the rage that he spoke it in was just so intense. Most of the shinobi started to quake, some of them dropping their weapons in fear, despite being so far they could hear him. Starting with you beasts, you think that just because you possess power, that you know what true power is. You think that just because people call you a beast, you are truly one. You think that just because people call you a monster, that you are one. Well, you're not. Let me show you what true power is. Let me show you what a true monster is, he said. He looked up to the heavens and roared. The sky itself became dark. Electricity came down in an arc and literally shocked the four tails with so much force. The four-tailed monkey cried out. As he stepped back, his skin burned badly. The five-tailed horse came over and lifted its paws. Its legs came down and slammed Naruto into the earth. It then started to trample. It trampled so hard the place started to shake. But then something hit it as it was launched straight up in the air. As Naruto came out, he raised his hand as the four tail was yanked as Naruto tossed it. He used the four tails to knock the five tails out of the sky. The two beasts were sent crashing. Naruto then flew straight up in the sky. It was then that he slammed both hands together as he started to separate his palms. Upon separating his palms, the earth split. The earth underneath them literally split. As the two-tailed beast fell in, he then slammed his palms together. The force of the earth started to squash them. They roared in agony and rage as they exploded out of it. They looked towards each other knowing that they had no choice. They started to gather a massive Biju bomb and fuse it together. They then launched it towards him. Naruto stood there unfazed as he muttered a single word. Split. An arc of golden energy flew from his body and split the Biju bomb. Repel. The thing repelled and slammed into both of the tail beasts before. Explode. As they trigger a cosmic blast that seemed to eviscerate that part of the land. When the smoke cleared, the two Bijus were on their last leg. Because it was not just their power that was in that Biju bomb. That gold arc of energy was also his. As Naruto slowly landed, the trees in the forest started to die. The earth itself started to turn brittle and break apart. As he was basically walking on air by this point, he walked toward the two Bijus who got back to their feet. The fourth tail brought down a fist that would have crushed many other ninjas, but Naruto reached up and caught it. The ground underneath him breaking completely away. The five tails used his tails and slammed them into Naruto as he was blown back. The five tail ran forward and slammed his head into Naruto clean on. But Naruto then lift as he gripped around the five tail and lifted up. He then brought its head into the ground, delivering a severe attack that snapped its neck to the side. The five tail body collapsed. It will take a while for its neck to reform. The fourth tail came over and brought down both of his fists. Seeing that wouldn't work, he opened his mouth as hot streams of lava exploded out of it. The lava slammed right into Naruto. But once it cleared, Naruto stood there. His body had a thin aura, a golden thin aura that surrounded him. Not even a drop had touched him. Naruto then flew forward. The four tail eyes went wide as Naruto flew directly in the thing's mouth. The thing was forced to swallow as Naruto went straight down his throat. It then started to roar as it pounded on its stomach over and over and over. It started to jump and slam itself into the ground. It cried out in pain as it started to swell and swell and swell until boom! An explosion. As the thing literally exploded. The body being literally blown apart with great force. The tail beast's chakra started to fly away until Naruto raised his hand. As he then opened his mouth and started to inhale, all of that chakra flew directly into Naruto. As he swallowed it, the five tail looked like it was about to reform until Naruto raised his hand to the heavens. The gold off his body reached up and created a ball. It then started to shift into a blade before he gripped the handle and then swiped it down. With a simple swipe, enough energy came out to literally take the five tails into pieces. As the thing body bursts apart once again, Naruto inhaled all the chakra. He then turned his sights on the one tails. By now Shikaku was afraid. Not wanting to end up like his siblings, Shikaku decided to run. After seeing what that kid could do to the five and four tails, there was no way in hell that he would be able to beat him. And he was not sure if he would even reform after being inhaled. There was a lot more places he could destroy. Konoha seemed to be off the list. Shikaku. The mighty tail beast started to leave the village. And that got the sand ninjas even more afraid. Every ninja to be exact. As the fighting was still happening within Konoha, but the enemy was losing morale really quickly. Orochimaru had no chance to get away. Minato, Jiraiya, they were all taking him on Kakashi Gai, trying their best to take down the first and the second, but, well, they were two tanks. The reanimation Hokages were beyond strong, but the third Hokage was there for backup, and they had to lure the both of them somewhere away from the village, where they couldn't cause much damage, so they were inside the arena. As Yamato had came and slammed his hand down, creating a barrier of sorts. Wooden walls that spring up everywhere, protecting the rest of the people from the onslaught. As Orochimaru was in a state of panic, he had no idea what the hell was going on, or what to do now, as he watched the tail beasts were literally destroyed by a simple child. He never thought in his wildest dream this was possible. The Raikage had gave the order after a few of his shinobis were attacked, mainly Yujito, as she had literally crushed the skull of the sound shinobi that attacked her. He told the rest of his people to help Konoha, because the Raikage saw something that scared him. Never in his life has he saw someone, especially a child, annihilate two-tailed beasts like it was nothing. And he was now going after the one-tails. Shikaku turned as he saw Naruto flying after him. He turned, "Leave me alone!" as he slammed his hand on his stomach, releasing hundreds of wind bullets at fast rates towards Naruto. Naruto flew so fast that it seems like he broke the sound barrier. Shikaku screamed as Naruto literally tore through his stomach by just flying too fast, as he appeared beside the massive beast, before he dropped towards the ground, and then slammed his hand into the earth. He then twisted his hand as the ground split open. Two gigantic arms came out. A beast made from the earth itself, trees sticking all over it, appeared, as Naruto stood on top of the head. Naruto then started to move with the beast. He raised his hand as the beast raised a hand, as he dropped it on Shikaku's shoulder. Shikaku blasts a massive ball of air from his mouth right towards the head. Naruto raised his hand and sliced the attack in half, as it blew behind him. He then picked Shikaku up. The massive tanuki flipped around as he tried to get out of the grass, but he could not. It was then that Naruto leaped with the beast. As the both of them flew up in the sky, Shikaku screamed and used his one tail to bat the beast in the back. But a third arm created from the earth came out of the back and grabbed his tail before it started to squeeze, and then turned upside down and brought him down. Konoha trembled when he hit the ground. The entire place seemed to just boom. The amount of force used. The back of Shikaku was completely compressed as Naruto landed on his stomach, the beast holding him down. Shikaku roared as he held his head to the sky, creating a Biju bomb, until Naruto appeared at his mouth and slammed his hand in the same black ball and forcefully pushed it down Shikaku's throat. It was at that moment the earth beast closed Shikaku's mouth as Naruto jumped off the thing. Naruto then snapped his finger as a single bright star. It seemed like a star just came down. The moment it made contact with Shikaku's stomach, it went inside of him. Gar, who was asleep giving Shikaku control, had no idea what was going on. But he would not wake up to see what will happen afterwards. The Biju bomb inside of Shikaku's stomach. The moment that bright twinkle made contact, all hell broke loose. Shikaku literally exploded upon himself. The chakra was leaking away until Naruto inhaled it, taking back that beast. As Naruto then watched as the earth beast returned back to the earth, his eyes then turned back towards Konoha. He stood above the village, his eyes looking over everything, before he focused towards on top of a building, where three Anvu stood. Arun Tsunade was healing his mother. He then disappeared. The Anvus were surprised as they raised their weapons, but Naruto paid them no attention, as he simply walked past. They did not stop him. He just saved their village from three Bijus, and they didn't think that he possessed the power to stop him. As Naruto looked down towards his mother, she was unconscious. He looked toward his hands. He had the power to destroy, the power to level civilizations, but not the power to heal. As he walked towards Tsunade, his body still glistening, Tsunade looked at him. She wasn't sure what to say to him, or what the hell was going on, but Naruto spoke first. "Is she alright?" "Tsunade," he said. She cleared her throat. Tsunade focused on him. "I had to put her unconscious to stabilize her wound before I get her to the hospital. She needs a blood transfusion. But in this state, I can't move her too much." As Naruto walked over, "You need to get to the hospital," he said. She nodded. "But I can't move her too much." as Naruto looked down. Before he placed a hand on the ground. "Hold on," he said, as he placed a hand on his mother, a golden light surrounding her that kept her perfectly stable. The top of the building they were on completely broke off as it started to levitate up. Before moving towards the hospital, Tsunade was shocked in awe as Naruto's eyes were focused towards the hospital before. He looked down as he lowered the building. He stopped right in front of one of the windows. Before he simply raised his hand as the window simply cracked open. As he allowed Tsunade to be picked up in the golden glow, along with his mother, who was still kept gently perfect, and brought inside as he rested her down on one of the beds. The nurse was shocked when she saw that, but Tsunade quickly barked out some orders as the nurse quickly rushed off for the type blood. "Will she be okay now?" Naruto asked. Tsunade walked over. "Because of you, I'll do everything I can." An explosion went off outside, but the village needs you right now, Naruto. I don't know what is going on or how. You're doing this right now. I never thought this power was so great. But go and help them. There's more of them out there. None of them deserve to die. Protect the village, she said. Our people needs your help. As Naruto nodded to her. Take care of my mother, he said. As she nodded back. It was then that he flew through the window. Tsunade stood there in shock. That kid. He was certainly something. As the nurse rushed back inside, as she was carrying the blood bags. Tsunade turned back to Kushina. Don't worry, she said, placing a hand on her cheek. You'll be just fine. Meanwhile, Minato no Mikase, he always tried to speak the word of peace. After all, despite Konoha having the war in the bag, he was able to have a negotiation with the Hidden Stone, speaking to Harrison and cause peace between the nations because he didn't want a world where children had to grow up in war. He was able to speak to the fourth Raikage, who was able to sympathize that he also didn't want war anymore. They had lost enough people. Both men came to an agreement and signed a peace treaty all those years ago. He always tried to bring peace forward, but now he didn't know if his wife was alright. He had saw Tsunade take her away. He knew that Tsunade was the best person to deal with this right now. But the feeling of rage was just too much. That is why Minato, after so long, let loose. The fourth Hokage was a dangerous man. Dangerous when he was protecting his home, but even worse when he was fighting with actual vengeance. Down below, Hiruzen had the backup of Fukaku. He had the backup of Kakashi and Guy. The rest of the Uchihas and the others were spread around, offering as much help as they could, as they took on the first and the second Hokage. Orochimaru, on the other hand, he knew that it was a risky chance in doing this, even though he had so much support, and he was right. Orochimaru screamed out in agonizing pain as he was once again assaulted. The attacks came so fast, it was hard to even keep up anymore. Hundreds, maybe thousands, or his eyes were fooling him. Minato had used the kunai clone technique and was just moving like a speed demon. Orochimaru was trying to keep up with the speed. It was unreal. Minato was flashing around, moving so fast. Orochimaru's body was being literally torn apart. A Rasengan slammed right into his throat. The man had to step back and open his mouth to quickly release another Orochimaru. Otherwise, his entire head would have been ripped off. The moment he did though, he was once again assaulted, being hit from left to right, his body in a constant state of pain as he cried out. Minato did not relent, using his most powerful attack. The speed that he was moving at was just beyond incredible as he flashed around. Orochimaru didn't have time to perform jutsus, as the tendons in his arms were ripped. He cried out once again as he lashed out snakes from his mouth. Minato dropped and slammed the Rasengan. It grazed Orochimaru back as he was able to turn, but the moment he turned back around, Minato's knee shattered his nose. The man had a look of vengeance and rage in his eyes as he picked Orochimaru apart. By the time he was done, the snake saw him was on the ground, a bloody mess, as he coughed up blood. Minato didn't stop though. He moved once again, tiring himself out as he assaulted Orochimaru. He slashed, he cut, he tear. Orochimaru screamed out in agonizing pain. He was always the one performing experiments on people. To have his body be literally sliced apart by the tiny kunai, slice after slice, it felt like there was 10 copies of Minato hitting him all at once. As he collapsed down to the ground, the tendons in his arms were severed as he couldn't move. His legs looked like they were put through a meat grinder. A Rasengan was shoved into his stomach as the snake Sanin cried out in pain. Minato stomped right on his face. Before he flashed through hand sign, and electricity started to gather right on his palm. Because of mostly using his Harashin, people did not focus that Minato had 3 natures: wind, lightning, and also water, and he was quite proficient in lightning. He slammed both hands together before the electricity seemed to just arc off him. Orochimaru screamed out, his entire insides being electrified. Orochimaru watched his life as it was flashing in front of his eyes. He thought he had this one. He thought he could not be stopped with the 3 nations backing him. But here he was, dying. The electricity burned him until his body was nothing but a shriveled up mess. Once Minato was done, as he looked down towards his defeated dead Snake Sanin, rage was still in his eyes. His mind worried about his wife, his children, having no idea what is going on with Naruto, but whatever it was able to save and protect the village from those 3 Bijus. Because as strong and fast as he was, he couldn't handle 3 Bijus at once. But Naruto had took them down. But for now, it's not time to worry about his son because his son could protect himself. For now, he had to worry about the village. It was then that many people stopped fighting as they gasped. They turned their head on what they saw, frazzled them to no end. Standing protectively around the village was the tail beasts, but their body was made up of strange gold substance. There was the 4 tails, the 5 tails, the 1 tails, and not to mention the 9 tails. The people of Konoha were shocked, thinking that it was another attack, as they wondered where the child was, but the beasts were not attacking. They were standing there protectively. The ninjas that tried to flee away from the village, seeing that they were at a loss. Most of the sand ninjas were crushed. Bodies were destroyed. Stone ninjas were ripped apart. Despite being a gold, strange color, the beasts still all had their power. Kurama was breathing hot flames from his mouth. The 4-tail was spewing out lava. The 5-tail was releasing steam. And the 1-tail used sand to crush his opponents. The ninjas were afraid. Some of them dropped to their knees in fear, as they couldn't leave outside and they could not stay in here, so they released their weapons and dropped, fear coursing through them. As they didn't want to attack anymore, they didn't want to be a part of this. They had nowhere to run. Most of them, too afraid to fight back, realized that the power of Konoha has not dimmed over the years. It has only gotten stronger. It was then that the rain started to fall. Everyone glanced up as they saw Naruto in mid-air. His eyes scanned over the battlefield. In Naruto's eyes, he saw all the targets as red. He saw that the Raikage had allowed his forces to fight for Konoha, so they were allies now. But he then brought his hand down. Arc of electricity started to fall from the heavens. Ninjas screamed out in agonizing pain as they were being hit from left to right. One after another they fell. One after another they died. Even the ones that gave up, they were mercilessly slaughtered. Mito was being attacked by 3 of them, only for their body to turn into dust. The electricity coursing down on them. She glanced up as Menma landed beside her. "Is Naruto really doing all of this?" said Mito. "Yeah." "But how?" said Menma, as he was completely at a loss. Everyone was to how he possessed this amount of power. They knew that he was strong, but this was just insane, right? The lightning still kept on coming down. Konoha shinobis moving back as they watched their enemies literally strike down one after another. As Naruto stood in mid-air, as he lowered himself, he landed right in the center of the dome. The others were unaware of what was going on outside. Despite Orochimaru being dead, the Edo Tensei did not stop. Even the wielder dead, the Edo Tensei still went on. As Naruto saw the first and second about to attack him, Naruto can hear him call out. As Naruto raised his hand, they stop. They stopped in their tracks as thousands of small golden needles assaulted their body, stopping all of their joints. He walked up towards them as he gripped both of their faces before he started to inhale their chakra, literally sucking them until they were nothing but dust. Their bodies breaking away to reveal the reanimation's body that Orochimaru used, the ones that he killed, two sound ninjas. Naruto turned back to Hirsch and the others. Fukaku, all of them, looked at him shocked as Naruto's eyes saw them dizzy. After years of suppressing his power and using it all so much, it was straining his body, keeping this power constantly contained and locked away, and now using so much of it. It was beginning to become too much. But he couldn't stop here, he had to end them. The electric strike stopped, but most of the ninjas were dead as Naruto hopped onto the dome. It was then that someone landed right in front of him. It was Yujito. As she saw the sweat on his face, his arms twitching, she looked at him. She was still amazed at what she just saw. "You don't look so well," she said. He turned towards her before he fell. She caught him before he could fall off the dome as she landed. The moment she did, Minato appeared beside her. "Is he alright?" Minato asked. She looked up towards the Hokage. She checked Naruto's pulse. As she felt around, Minato was starting to get worried. "Yeah, he's alright," she said. "Just seemed unconscious." Minato glanced towards the tail beasts that were at the walls. Despite Naruto being knocked unconscious, they were still there. The remaining shinobis, after seeing Orochimaru was gone, nowhere to be seen, the sand, the sound, and not to mention most of the stone shinobis dead, they gave up. The reanimation stopped. Minato took his son away from the girl as he held him in his arms. Naruto was just out cold. He looked down toward his son as the Raikage landed down in the arena. As he looked towards Yujito and asked if she was okay, she told him she was fine. The Raikage looked towards the boy. "How is he?" he said, as he was curious himself. "He's just unconscious," said Minato. As two envoys landed beside Minato, "Sir, they're all giving up." The envoy then turned. "Sir, about those. For now, don't allow any of them to leave the village. Well, I doubt they will. Because if they try, they will die," said Minato. As those beasts out there were not in the mood to talk or anything, they just squashed all of the enemy shinobis. Minato handed his son over to one of the envoys to get him to the hospital as he decided to try something as he flashed towards the wall of the village. "Minato!" the voice of Jiraiya cried out as he came hopping over as he was prepared to fight. "Wait! There's something I need to see." Minato walked up towards the Nine Tails, who looked down towards him. He then looked back up, not paying him any mind. They're not attacking. Seems that they will only attack the enemy. But how can they... Well, they're not exactly normal, are they? Said Jiraiya. "No. Far from it," said Minato. "How did Naruto do this?" Jiraiya asked. "I have no idea." "Where is he?" "I sent him to the hospital. He's unconscious at the moment." "Well, I guess for now, everything's alright. But this is a lot, Minato." "I know," said Minato, still unaware of how the hell did his son do that. "Wait, where's Orochimaru? Did you..." "He's dead." As Jiraiya nodded, he was glad that the snake was finally dead after all that happened so far. "Go. I'll make sure everything is fine. Go check on her." Minato was afraid. He didn't want to go to the hospital and hear that his wife was dead. But he steeled himself and made his way, as he went for his kids as well. Time skip. A full week has passed since the attack on the village. Despite the full week going by, the tail beast does not move an inch. The enemy shinobis were restrained. There was just a little bit of them left, as they were thrown in the cells. The ones that were able to flee Konoha before the attack came down with the Bijus, they reported back. Well, The world is gonna be thrown into chaos very soon, as a new deterrent was in the world. A boy that was able to destroy tail beasts by himself. But the thing was, he was currently unconscious. He was not waking up. Kushina was still in the hospital. It wasn't a normal stab that she got. The entire upper half and lower half of her stomach was just burst open. Some of her organs were damaged really badly. She had to go through surgeries. But Snazzy, being the world's best medical ninja, was able to heal her in the end. But she still needed bed rest. She demanded to be put in the same room as her boy, which she was. It was just like when he was a baby, when he wouldn't wake up. But the more they passed, she was panicking. She had saw a few of what happened when he had went insane with power. Other than that, she had blacked out for most of it. Snazzy had to put her under so she wouldn't be in so much pain. But she heard from Snazzy and her kids what happened. They came by almost every day to visit. Not just them though. There was other people. Kushina had to tell Ino to go home to get some rest. And there was also the Kumo Kunoichi. As a form of their ally, the Raikage had allowed the Kumo shinobis that came with him to help out Konoha in this distraught state. But he had to return back to his own home. Seeing the power that Naruto's capable of the Raikage, well, ideas started to pop in his head regarding his Kunoichi Ujito. After seeing what the boy could do, well, any ninja would be stupid not to take this as an advantage for his village, seeing that he was allied with Konoha. But Ujito stopped by every now and often. She also spoke to his brothers and sisters, who didn't seem to have a problem with her. Menma was nice as well. But given the incident that happened all those years ago, Kushina wasn't that, well, warm and welcoming. And not to mention her son was not waking up, so she was a bit angry. Her other kids were okay and they came by every now and often, but she still wanted Naruto to wake up. She wanted him to be fine. When Remy woke up, she was shocked to hear that all of that happened, as she was unconscious for almost all of it. As she couldn't believe that happened, but she remembered what happened in the land of Wave. But that didn't compare to this. As the week went by, still no movement from tail beasts. They were like statues just standing there. They didn't seem to care about anything other than protecting Konoha. Minato had envoys watching them, but they didn't show any sign of aggression. It was then that finally, their bodies started to break apart. The envoys rushed to tell Minato as he made his way. It didn't take too long. The chakra from their bodies flew straight towards Konoha and flew directly in the village. It whipped through and flew through the hospital window. Kushina's eyes went wide as all that chakra came in and flooded through her son's mouth. As his body twitched and groaned on the bed, she pulled herself out. Despite her pain on her stomach, she rushed over towards him. She checked his pulse, but he was fine. Minato rushed towards the hospital as he followed the chakra. When he got there, he heard crying as he burst through the door. Kushina, is every... He paused as he saw his wife hugging the awake Naruto. As she was hugging onto him crying, that he was finally awake. Oh, hey Dad, said Naruto. Minato walked over and smiled in his face. You're awake, he said. His smile was happy. Time skip. Minato sat in the office, along with Hiruzen and Jiraiya. Well, the news is that they were being tricked by Orochimaru. But that still does not excuse the fact that they were planning on attacking Leaf Village from the orders of their Kazekage. It's not like they would have been able to resist it though. So what are you saying, said Minato as he looked toward Jiraiya. That I should just let it go. Well, there should be some compensate from their side. And after the state that this little invasion have left them in, I doubt they will be able to retaliate. So what are you saying then, asked Hiruzen. Well, I'm sure they're at their own village right now discussing on what to do. Not to mention we still have their siblings. And they're just kids. They were just given an order they had to follow. Unlike most of the people, they're kept in a lot better condition, even though they're spoils of war, said Minato. But you're right. If this continues this way, the Sun will just try once again to attack and kill us. They won't stop. Even though they know they might not win, they will become desperate. We're gonna have to find a reasonable way to get past this. But they're gonna pay heavily for it. As the two men nodded. Have you spoken to Danzo? Asked Hiruzen. Knowing that Danzo was... well, you already know exactly what he said. As Hiruzen sighed. As the council meeting that happened this morning, just a formal one, Hiruzen was unable to make it. What does the rest of the council say? They too want to end this. There's no reason to drag this on, even though we might be able to outgun them right now. But if we start something else, it will just be a matter of time before they decided to retaliate against us, and once again start chaos. And I prefer to keep our village in a state of peace. And Orochimaru is finally dead, and all the enemy shinobis are currently located here. What about the hidden stone? Oniki thought this was a perfect shot, but yet he didn't show himself. But he did send his two tail beasts, which are now under the protection of Konoha. Well, how exactly? Asked Jiraiya. Did Naruto say anything? He just woke up a couple of hours ago. I have not yet spoken with him on those details. I just want to give him time to recover a bit more. He looks extremely exhausted, and he also said that his body is in pain. And perhaps it was just a rage once again, said Hiruzen. Just like the last time when he did not know exactly what happened. Yeah, you're right there, said Minato. So I just want to give him time to be with his family right now and relax. You're his father, you know that, right? Said Jiraiya. Minato released a bitter chuckle. I know. But there's a lot more things to do before we can go into this. What about the Raikage? Where is he in all of this? Well, he is with Konoha. He has no ally with the stone, the sand, or the sound. So he is with us 100%. Well, after that little display, I doubt that he will only want a peace pact between us. Soon enough he's gonna ask to become allies. To create a bond between our village, after all. He's seen what Konoha is no capable of. Well, mostly your son. What's wrong? Asked Minato. You remember I told you what happened to the toads, right? Yes. Well, I was thinking. It was at the exact same time that Naruto signed the contract that Yamamaru had fell ill. You think it has anything to do with Naruto? Well, your son has always been an anomaly when it comes to power. What if that was a reason? What if Yamamaru saw something when Naruto signed the contract? Perhaps another prophecy, so strong that his mind could not contain it. Well, we're not sure yet. We'll just have to wait until the toad wakes up, said Minato. Yeah, I guess you're right there. Until then, though, there's a lot more to do. Time skip. Naruto lay on the bed. The moment they heard that he was awake, all of them came to visit him. All of them. He enjoyed the company. But the thing was, he felt extremely sad. He had promised himself he would not kill once like that again. After what he did in the past. After all the lives that he hurt. After all the people that he killed. He promised himself that he would not flip out like that again, but he couldn't help it. He glanced over towards his mother who was asleep. Not in her own bed. Naruto sighed. Even after all these years, she still treated him like a baby. As she was right beside him. She was so upset when she heard that he was unconscious once again, as he didn't like to see her sad or anyone else. Mito had punched him in the arm, to make sure that he was okay. It was just her way of showing affection. And there was something about Menma as well. Menma was obsessed with a chocolate bar called Kota. He never really wanted to give it up ever. And Naruto was surprised when he gave him one. Told him that it would make him feel better. The two of them was worried when he had just passed out. None of them had asked him what happened. It seems like they want to give him time to recover before they asked him. He couldn't tell how much he loved these people. It was just amazing being a part of their family. And he would do anything for them, even if it meant disregarding his oath that he made all those years ago, and start to kill people once again. But as he had slaughtered those people, he found a sense of relief, a sense of joy. That was what he hated about himself. He hated to think that he was a monster. The words of Momoshiki and the other Otsutsuki still resounded in his head until this day. He was nothing but a vile beast that was meant to destroy, meant to cause pain and havoc. He could not heal, only destroy. Something that he really hated about himself. As he lay in bed, his mother snoring beside him, he then heard a voice. Oh, so cute. as he turned his head towards the window and saw Yujito. As she climbed inside, as Naruto separated himself from his mother and placed a pillow in her arm as she hugged it rather tightly. As Naruto got off the bed, he had gotten a change of clothes. He was in a simple white shorts and a blue shirt. "Are you okay?" she asked. "Yeah, just fine. I heard that you came to visit me." "Thank you," he said. "Well, just want to make sure that you're okay. Even more than before, you intrigue me more now," she said. "Is that so?" said Naruto. "Did you not see what you do back there?" "I guess you're right," he said. "Has anyone talked to you about that yet?" she asked. "No, not really. So they know." "They know?" said Naruto. "About what you did?" "About how you did it," she asked. "Not really," said Naruto. "How did you do it?" she asked him. "It's complicated," said Naruto. "Is it?" she said as she stepped closer towards him. "Yeah," said Naruto, despite her being inches away from him, as their faces were almost touching. "There has been no one, no other boy, that has gotten me this interested in them before. They always try to interest me, but you. There's just something about you. From the moment I laid my eyes on you, I could tell that you were special." "And you are," she said. She reached up and trailed her nails down his cheek. "You are special indeed, Naruto Namikaze." "What are you doing?" said Naruto, as she trailed her fingernails down his face. Before she sliced him, Naruto grabbed his cheek. "What the hell was that?" he asked, trying to keep his voice level so his mother would not wake up. "I marked you," she said. "You marked me?" "Yes, you're mine." "Do you think I'm some kind of property?" Naruto said in a joking tone. She gave him a smile as she tilted her head as she looked him up and down with this look on her face. As she licked her lips, "I'll be seeing you soon," she said. She then proceeded to jump right through the window. As she made her way down, hopping, Naruto's cheek healed almost instantly before he sat down on the opposite bed of his mother's, the bed that his mother was supposed to be sleeping on. As he just sat there, she reminded him so much. He shook his head. It was just like that day, but he had no time to be thinking about that. That was the past, although he hoped she was doing alright. As he thought about her, unknown to him, she was thinking about him as well, a distance away from the elemental nation. A woman with bright, beautiful white hair. Her eyes were lavender, the Byakugan it seems, but they looked more intense. She was beautiful, almost looking like some kind of goddess. She stopped in front of a door. Inside, the same Otsutsuki that was wearing the lab coat turned towards her. "Ah, Akira," he said. "I'm sure that you're aware of what is going on. Somehow the news has spread by now." "He's finally escaped," Akira said. "Escape? You make it sound like you know about what is going on beforehand," the man said to her. "Ozu," she said to him. As his name was revealed, Ozu Otsutsuki. The man focused on her. "What do you want?" she asked. "More than anyone here. You show care for that thing. Some of the time we believe that you were the only one that could keep it under check. Until you have him destroyed," she said, as she put emphasis on the word him. "Come on, Akira. He was created. He was just a experiment. Something to be used." She kept her face relatively calm, but on the inside, she was angry. "And you know as well as I do that, after what he did to our people, tell me now, would you have sided with him?" "Of course not," she said. The man smiled at that. Of course he would say that. I mean, there was no way that he would turn against their own people for an abomination. "Is that right?" She remained quiet. He simply laughed. "There's no need to answer my question," he said. "After all, we both know where your loyalty lies. But I'm getting close. Extremely close on tracking him. It seems like, upon his descent away from this place, he left quite the impact in his wake. I was able to find some suspects, and I'm getting very close." "Is that all you call me to tell me?" Akira asked. Ozo merely smiled. Well, the thing is, you will have to be the one to bring it in. What? Akira said. Ozo stepped towards her. This is from the higher heads. We both know if we go as a group, he will retaliate. And we both know what happened last time. Yes, he slaughtered a lot of you, she said. But in the end, the upper heads were able to subdue him, Ozo said. But that was a very long time ago. We stripped away his powers. We destroyed his body, but yet we could not completely kill him. So I had him locked away until someone breached into my lab. The person was quite slick. For years, it seems that they have been studying my movements. He'd get a perfect copy of what I would do each and every day, so that they could get past my defense and free him. Which they successfully did, he said. His eyes were focused on Akira, not even blinking the slightest. But after freeing him, they released him. But they made a mistake. You see, the thing is, after we destroyed his body, I made sure that he could not regrow himself. So then what's the point if he cannot become back once he once was? Well, the thing is, he could have taken over a body of his own. The body would have to be weak, or maybe a newborn, a child that doesn't have a proper mindset yet. He would fuse with that body and become one. He would take it over, Akira asked. No. They would become one person. The child will still be the child, but he will have the memories of the past life, which is this life. And he will have the memories of you. That means he will know who you are, and he will trust you. So when the time is ready, you will be our ace in the hole. You will be what we will use as bait to lure him here. I'm afraid you cannot object, he said to her. Fine, she said. Good to know you're on board. You may leave now. There's a lot I have to do. With that, she left. A look of panic was on her face as she walked down the halls. She has no way of warning him to tell him what is coming. She didn't even know if he had taken over her body. But he would be a complete different person. She cannot go against these people. Because if she turned against them for him, they would kill her in a second. And then she would have no way of helping him at all. She had held back her desires. She had held back almost everything to make sure he would be kept safe. She had tried not to think about him, but she wanted to see him again. But how could she? She could not even find him at the moment. She would just have to wait for the perfect opportunity. When she go down there, if they found him, and the two of them can run away together, go far out in the universe, where they can never be found. Or they could come here and try to kill everyone here, all the higher heads, who want to oppress them. Naruto surely has the power. And she glanced back towards the lab behind her. There was only a few things in this world that could fully stop him, and their ranks had lessened since the last time they fought him, because he had decimated so much of their higher-ups. If they were to fight him now, especially the newer ones, he would wipe them all away. Not to mention she had help, people that didn't seem as abomination. Most Otsutsukis were unfeeling and uncaring, while she didn't care about much people. She cared about, well, him. And she wanted him to be protected. After all, she loved him, and she would do anything for him. But she had no way of warning him. But she had to find a way. She just had to. Time skip. Back on the elemental nation. Two men stood. The rain was pouring outside, as one man stood on the top of the head of the lion. The rain drenching him, but he didn't seem to care. Dressed in the Akatsuki clothing, orange hair that spiked. Someone stood behind him, with spiky black hair. Did Zetsu inform you? The man behind him with the orange mask said. Yes. Well, now this is a predicament. I never thought that this would ever happen. How do we proceed? The man that stood there, known as Pain, asks. Well, this is surely a new development. A simple child able to take on tail beasts by himself and crush hundreds, maybe thousands of ninjas, is quite a shocking development. At the moment, I am unsure what exactly this child is. Maybe he possessed your eyes or something. Maybe something even beyond that. Are you saying this child is blessed with the power of a god? Asked Pain. I'm not entirely sure, but I am gonna find out. He was not on my radar before, but now. This is surely a tricky development. We thought the Nine Tails was sealing one of them. It turns out that the child had take the chakra. I'm not sure exactly what is fully going on. Konoha is in a pretty secure state right now, so Zetsu has to be careful. But I will find out what is going on. The man says he sucked himself in a swirling vortex. Pain. As Pain turned to see the blue-haired woman. What are we gonna do? He glanced towards her. Konan, there's no need to worry. It doesn't matter what it takes. We will achieve our peace. She nodded, putting her trust in him. But this new development was scary. But they were not the only ones in panic. At the hidden stone, Oniki was furious and afraid. This was bad. Really bad. But guys, to be in some right here. If you want the next part to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends and social media platforms. I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.